Yeah, yeah. Well, and I'm not saying that's the way
Yeah,
to
like
do it.
no,
But
no, I don't even know if I have that like concept in my head. You know what I mean? I totally appreciate that it is for you, and that makes us unique and beautiful humans.
Mhm.
But like for me, I just don't even think that like exists in my head that way for some reason.
Well, and that's it. Like, are you sort of? God, that sounds so dumb. But do you embrace the darkness? That sounds like such a bad way to say it. But is that it? Like, do you sort of see that part of the world and kind of get into it? Or are you sort of like, okay, this is not for me, and I can do better things with my time?
Yeah, I think
You know?
that's what it is.
Mm.
I do see the darkness. I see the darkness within myself, and I think I fight it.
Yeah.
And I think I like say, hey, I can focus my energy there, or I can focus my energy on the good, the kindness, the enlightenment of man, and just like fucking some kind of like godly. Mine always goes back to some like, okay, so I know I had this like in our notes. I don't know if we really want to get into this, but like, I'm a heavy meditator. I think you know that. I kind of always have been. And like, okay, so like, when I was, I think, 16, I was filming a movie with good old Juan, and we got in a car accident, and we flipped off the highway. And dude, I had just one of those weird near-death experiences, but I remember it like boom, beat by beat, word by word. And we've talked about this before. I was like, "You're gonna die now." I wish I could have said goodbye to the people I know. They'll understand. And someday went through your head, and someday meant that you cannot understand death until you're dead. And it was this blissful experience. Just blissful. No worries. Just like fucking perfection. And you just knew. Like, so anyway, we came to, and I'm hanging upside down in the car off the road. And dude, I was like in a trance. I remember him asking me, have you been through this before? Because I was just like, no big deal.
Because you weren't flipping out. You weren't like, oh my God, what's happening?
No, he was flipping out and crying. I was just like meditative and smiling. Because yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So yeah, like, okay, so at that point, it was so weird. And I've only recently been kind of like figuring out what it was. I would get this thing like, I would just get like energy shooting up and down my spine. And even up into my head and like out my head, it just felt like there was like these waves of energy going through you. And I was always meditating because my dad was a meditator, so he kind of taught me to meditate. And I just thought maybe that's normal when you're meditating. It literally feels like just electricity going from the base of your spine that just like will just shoot up and go right out your head. So when you're meditating, it's like, so the more you look into it, like meditation talks about this, it's like third eye, Kundalini, chakras, and systems opening up. And like years later, I kind of only recently, fucking 20 years later, finally, like at one point I just Googled energy, like feels like electricity is going up your spine. And what I stumbled upon was like this whole world of weird meditation, Kundalini awakenings, third eye openings, that's like brings you closer to the spirit world. And I had no idea what the shit was just happening inside of me all these years. And suddenly I started to research it. And there's like yogi gurus talking about everything I experienced. Like electricity starting from your base. It's like your chakras. That's what they call it. Going up your base and like comes up and like literally in meditation, it feels like you have a weight forming in the middle of your forehead. And that's apparently like a third eye opening type deal. And it's really weird. So I never knew what it was. I read all these accounts of people really fearful of it. They thought they had diseases. They thought they were really sick. All the shit. I always just thought it was like this amazing rush. And so I've been looking into all that stuff. So like, I don't know, like I've always had that thing of like just that weird energy, like this. I know it's like, I'm not a religious dude. I'm not overtly, I don't submit to a religion, but I'm spiritual as fuck. And I've always felt that there's just like a oneness, a spiritual being. And like only recently have I kind of discovered that that's what these people call this, is like you're kind of connecting to with the universe of like life itself. And so like, yeah, I don't know, like ever since I've been a kid, I've been drawn towards the light, and I understand the evil is part of us. It's the yin and the yang. And it's very much a conceptual thing when you're having these moments that while you're with the light, you do see the evil around you, the evil within yourself, and you have to focus on being the light somehow. That was always some weird thing that was just conveyed to you innately.
Yeah, yeah.
That it was like your responsibility is to bring light into the world, not to bring more evil into the world. So that's, wow, we just got fucking deep. So
Yeah, but
whether we keep that or not, we can absolutely keep that.
Yeah. Will we, I mean, do you feel like there's a direct connection from your experience with the car crash? Like if you hadn't had that you would feel as strongly as you do? Like,
I feel like it's strengthening recently because I've been really, since we moved to Colorado, I've been having more time to dedicate to like really hard. And I've been like testing out like auditorial meditations, like sound wave meditations, which is really like kind of triggers certain elements of like this practice and bringing you to like sort of an elevated mental state where you're just like, dude, I'm telling you, just you feel like you're on a different plane. You're just like floating and you're all consciousness. And just the other day, I'm telling you, I just had like all of a sudden there's like a really like this energy like right in front of your eyes. You close your eyes and there's a purple orb floating in and out. It's so bizarre. And it was just like, I'm like, I don't know why it was, but it was just like, I don't know if I was thinking about consciousness and human consciousness like rising and what that can do to like offset shit in the world and how that needs to rise. But it was like, it just came to me that dark matter is human consciousness. That was like something that just came to me out of nowhere.
It just kind of just popped in there.
Yeah, though, like you're seriously getting weird messages. You're getting messages. You're like having thought, like.
But it doesn't feel like it's your own thoughts necessarily.
No,
like
it's not your own. It doesn't feel like it's your own thought. It feels like something's relaying messages to you.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really weird. And I can see why people get fearful. I've even had strong anxiety since I've started kind of taking it to the next levels. I've had moments of like strong anxiety, like, fuck. I mean, this is really like opening my interior world right now. So, but it's cool because part of it is like, you should do this. Part of it is like, you need to share this information because it's very accessible for humans. I don't know on what level. I do think, back to your initial point, I think it did come, because I looked it up after that. Like when I finally fucking looked this shit up, it said, like it's a practice that comes through Kundalini yoga for years, but now there's like a weird rising consciousness going on and people are more easily accessing it. And it also said it can be triggered by near-death experiences. And then I look back to my near-death experience and then ever having that moment, just like feeling like I had this like weird pulsating energy going through my body. I've never told anyone about this other than my wife. I mean, we've talked about it a little, but none of our buddies know any of this shit.
Well, now they do.
Now they might, yeah, if they listen.